Hey, welcome. So today we're diving into one of the most beloved pieces of American music ever written, Aaron Copland's Appalachian Spring. It's that piece of music that just feels like a sunrise over a vast, hopeful landscape. But what if I told you there's a secret hiding in that famous melody? A missing chapter that completely changes the entire story. I mean, for generations, this has basically been the soundtrack to an idealized America. It brings up these images of pioneers, simple faith, and wide open spaces. When you hear it, you can't help but picture a little country wedding in a brand new farmhouse, just full of hope. It's just baked into the way America sees its own past. And that brings us to the big question, right? The version we all know and love. The familiar, peaceful one. It tells a beautiful story, for sure. But it's not the whole story. Not by a long shot. There's this darker, more complicated piece of the puzzle that was, well, it was cut out on purpose. So how did Copland even create this iconic American sound? Well, he used a style called musical pastoralism. And pastoralism isn't just about sounding pretty. It's like he had this specific musical toolkit. Simple, folky melodies, big open harmonies, all designed to make you feel that sense of rural tranquility, that nostalgic calm. It's basically a landscape painting, but with music. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the guy who created all this, Aaron Copland, he's kind of the biggest paradox in this whole story. Here's the man who, more than anyone else, defined the sound of the American frontier in music, and yet his own life, well, it couldn't have been more different.
I mean, people ask this question all the time. Think about it. Copland was a son of Lithuanian and Russian Jewish immigrants. He grew up over his family's department store in what he called a drab Brooklyn neighborhood. His world wasn't the dry prairie or the endless sky, it was the symphony hall and the library. And yet this is the guy who would become the definitive musical voice of the Old West.
His journey was just incredible, really. So back in the 20s, he's studying in Paris with the legendary Nadia Boulanger, and she tells him, look, stop trying to sound like a European. Find an American voice. And boy, did he ever. Fast forward to the early 40s, and he's already dropped these bombshell ballads like Billy the Kid and Rodeo. He basically is the sound of American music. And that all set the stage for his masterpiece.
All right, so the year is 1944, and a commission comes in from, a legend, the dancer and choreographer Martha Graham. She wants a new American-themed ballet. Copland gets to work trying to capture that pioneer spirit, youth, spring, optimism. He didn't even have a real title for it yet, just Ballet for Martha.
So get this, when the music is done, Copland is a wreck. He is so nervous because he wrote the entire ballet without Martha Graham hearing a single note. He just sends her this simple piano recording. Can you imagine? He's waiting, and then her letter arrives. And you can just feel the relief. She totally got it. She even pointed out that famous Shaker melody, Simple Gifts, saying it was a tune that would stick with people and bring them a whole lot of joy. She nailed it. The premiere was a huge success. And the name, the famous title, Appalachian Spring, actually came from Martha Graham right before the premiere. She pulled it from a poem. Copland famously had no idea what part of the country it was even referring to, but he just loved the sound of it. And so that night, the world heard Appalachian Spring for the very first time. But here's where the story takes a turn. Right after the ballet was a hit, Copland wanted to make a version that orchestras could play in a concert hall, without all the dancers. An orchestral suite. And to do that, he decided to make a cut. And it wasn't a small trim, it was a huge one. Okay, the best way to think about it is like this. The version you usually hear, that's the theatrical release. It's been edited down, it's tidier, definitely more optimistic. It's made for a bigger audience. But the original ballet, that's the director's cut. It's longer, it's raw, and it has this whole section that Graham's own notes called a moment of fear, wrath, crisis. Yeah, not exactly peaceful. So what exactly did Copland take out? It wasn't just a few bars. He yanked out an entire 8-minute section that's all about one character, the revivalist preacher. And let me tell you, in the ballet, this guy's sermon is not comforting. Yeah, the music for this minister's dance, it's a total shock to the system. It's aggressive, it's dissonant, it's just buzzing with tension. It's supposed to be this fire and brimstone vision of hell and damnation. It's modern, it's fragmented, and honestly, it's kind of scary. It just completely shatters that peaceful, idyllic mood we all know. So why would he cut something so dramatic? Well, Copland's never gave a super clear answer, but pretty much everyone agrees this intense, difficult music just didn't vibe with the uplifting, feel-good concert piece he was trying to make. He basically performed surgery on it, removed the anxiety to create something more popular, more comforting. And that one decision, that one cut, led to decades of confusion. Seriously, all of a sudden, you don't just have one Appalachian Spring, you've got a bunch of different versions out there. And even today, you'll see recordings labeled complete that aren't. So let's break it down. Okay, so this chart is key. Look on the left. You've got the original ballet from 44. That's the whole shebang, about 33 minutes. And it's got the minister's dance in it, right? Now in the middle, that's the popular orchestral suite from 45. It's shorter, about 23 minutes, because, you guessed it, the minister's dance is cut. And he even shuffled the simple gifts variations around. But here's the kicker. Look at that third column, the extended suite from 1954. Copland puts the minister's dance back in. But, and this is so important, he keeps the suite's reordered variations and some of the other little cuts. So even this so-called extended version, it's still not the original director's cut. So why does any of this matter? I mean, who cares about a few different versions? Because this isn't just musical trivia. These different versions, they represent two fundamentally different visions of America, all wrapped up in the same piece of music. It all comes back to that idea we talked about at the beginning, pastoralism. So, that popular suite we all know, it's the perfect example of what experts call soft pastoralism. It's basically an escape. The music gives you this perfect, idealized, almost sentimental picture of America, a land of simple faith, community, no real problems. It's the comfortable, nostalgic story America loves to tell about itself. But the original ballet? That's what you'd call hard pastoralism. It completely refuses to be a simple escape. By keeping that minister's dance, it forces you to acknowledge that conflict and fear and judgment, they're all part of the American story too. The music gets jagged, dissonant, and it confronts you with a much, much more complicated reality. So you see, at the end of the day, picking which version to play is really about picking which story to tell. Without that scary minister's dance, you get an America of simple, optimistic faith. But with it, you get a country where that very same faith can also be a source of deep fear and crisis. The incredible thing is the music holds both of those realities. So, Copland gave us this complicated gift. He gave us the version of America we wanted to hear, and maybe the one that's a little closer to the truth. So the next time you listen to Appalachian Spring, just ask yourself, which America am I actually hearing? The simple dream or the complex reality? And which one tells the real story?